Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's program, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan's Taipei are tending to bereaved family members of a fire in the Siling district. Taiwan's vegetable vendor and philanthropist Chen Suju is visiting the local Tzu Chi chapter while on a trip to the Philippines. And cocoa tree farmer Cho Ming Song in Pingdong is the first in Taiwan to produce locally made and processed chocolate bar. In Taipei, Taiwan, a fire occurred in the early morning of August 29th at a temple in Siling district, leaving 6 people dead. Upon hearing the accident, Tzu Chi volunteers soon arrived to comfort bereaved family members and neighbors and led them in chanting Buddhist scriptures for the deceased. Moreover, the volunteers also handed out consolation cash to the terrified neighbors in hopes of bringing peace to their hearts.
In Siling district of Taipei, a serious fire burned out the Cixin temple, taking 6 members of the Yang family. Lin Tiande, who lives in the neighborhood, was awakened by a blast. He was the first Tzu Chi volunteer to arrive on the scene.
About 1 a.m. early this morning, I was awakened by the blast of the fire. When I arrived on the scene, the fire was relatively fierce.
After the fire was put out, Tzu Chi volunteers in Siling district brought condolences for family members and neighbors. Mr. Cho, who knows the Yang family well, also helped rescue them when the fire occurred. Although his house was destroyed by the fire, thankfully, all his family escaped from the fire.
I really don't need the consolation cash. Thank you for your kindness and the blessings.
Tzu Chi volunteers not only help soothe the terrified neighbors, but also led them in chanting Buddhist sutras for the deceased.
因查某囝叫廷慧嘛，杨小姐，嘿，杨小姐嘛，吼，先讲因有查某囝，嘿，然后等下我接叫你甲留伊的电话，啊，你即个互伊，伊若准讲有啥物代志要甲阮联络吼，伊才有电话号卡，安尼好不好？
In wake of the fire, Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to care for the bereaved family members and provide assistance when necessary.
Also in Taiwan, Pingdong's Hotun village was the recipient of Tzu Chi's help after the 8.8 floods in 2009. To thank Tzu Chi, local residents started to sort recyclables every week at a local temple and vowed to make Hotun an eco-friendly village. Recently, the village head also called on all residents to reduce the amount of joss paper burnt and to replace animal offerings with flowers and fruits.
In a ceremony celebrating the 7th lunar month, the melody of Chinese traditional music reverberates at a local temple in Hotun village of Pingdong County. Local residents gather together to support Tzu Chi's vegetarian event, and everyone enjoys a bowl of red bean porridge.
Even though there's been no sacrifices, no burning of joss paper will still be blessed.
Tzu Chi volunteers tell the local residents to keep to their right belief and thoughts instead of superstitiously killing animals as offerings. The village head also encouraged the residents to follow the Tzu Chi way.
We should burn less paper money. As for the offerings, we need to replace the sacrifice with flowers and the fruits.
We don't necessarily need to burn lots of joss paper in the 7th lunar month because that means we have to chop many trees and cause great harm to our environment. We need to learn how to coexist with Mother Nature through sorting recyclables.
After the 8.8 floods, the residents in Hotun village started to sort recyclables every week because they believe only through environmental protection will they avoid the risk of floods brought by future typhoons.
Moving to Indonesia, where the Chinese community also have the tradition of celebrating the 7th lunar month by burning paper money as an act of filial piety to their ancestors. Tzu Chi volunteers went door to door to promote the right belief and invited residents to join their study group.
In Indonesia, Indonesians of Chinese descent also have the tradition of celebrating the 7th lunar month. Tzu Chi volunteers held a blessing ceremony for over 600 Tzu Chi members, spreading the message of not burning Joss money as a way to replace the traditional ways of celebrating the 7th lunar month.
Very interesting. I found it interesting that they were suggesting that people no longer burn the paper, because that's a big part of Chinese culture, is my understanding, and to stop burning the paper was like, oh, I was surprised at that.
From practicing to performing in the Sutra of Profound Gratitude to parents, participants have related deeply to their own lives.
I've learned a lot. As my parents are no longer with me, I can still show my filial piety to them by performing in the Sutra of Profound Gratitude to parents. Although I showed gratitude to my parents when they were alive, I could never repay them fully. So if your parents are still alive, you should not wait to show filial piety.
The 7th lunar month is also Filial Piety Month, and Tzu Chi volunteers also knocked on doors to spread the message that it is not Ghost Month, but an opportunity to bring auspiciousness.
Taiwan's vegetable vendor and philanthropist Chen Shu-ju, who has donated millions of dollars from her modest income, was voted one of the most influential people by the Time magazine in 2010, and in the same year was also voted one of the many heroes of philanthropy by Forbes Asia. Moved by Chen's acts of kindness over the years, the Philippines Ramen Magsaysay Foundation decided to award the woman with this year's Magsaysay Award. While on her trip to the Philippines, Chen Shu-ju seized the opportunity to visit the local Tzu Chi chapter. Taiwan's vegetable seller Chen Shu-ju, who donated millions of NT dollars to the needy, is here in the Philippines to receive her award, and also pays a visit to the local Tzu Chi chapter. In Taiwan, Chen is always busy with work and hardly takes a day off. On a trip to the Philippines to receive the Magsaysay Award, the kind-hearted woman also takes time to learn more about Tzu Chi and recognizes the bamboo coin bank philosophy.
The first time I began saving money, I used that bamboo coin bank. I had 3 of them, and I started saving every cent I have. When I was little, I heard the master say that $1 or $2 is never too little, and that's how I started.
Born in a poor family, the money Chen saved when she was young went to pay for her siblings' tuition fees. Having received assistance before, Chen wanted to reciprocate that love to those in greater need.
Because I received help before, and now I would like to help others. I feel happy, so I continue. We always think of the needs of others before our own.
Chen Shu-ju's selfless giving spirit is a great inspiration and role model in today's materialistic society.
The crew of DaAi TV's cooking show Modern Vegetarian was recently in Malaysia to film their upcoming episodes. On August 24th, 6 Tzu Chi volunteers from Kuala Lumpur and Selangor came onto the show to demonstrate Malaysia's multicultural yet vegetarian dishes.
When vegetarian food meets multiculturalism, what have you got? An upcoming episode of DaAi's Modern Vegetarian, in which 6 volunteers from Malaysia share with host Guan Jia cooking Malay style.
The ingredients of cooking in Malaysia come from so many different cultures. Turn that all into vegetarian dishes and you got yourself a feast.
The guests emphasize both the tastiness and healthiness of the meals they are preparing.
In doing this, more people can become familiar with Malay cooking and give them vegetarian dishes a new spin. Food doesn't need meat to taste good. Simple vegetable vegetables with the right seasoning is enough. The most important thing is to make it easy so the public will be willing to try these dishes at home.
Actually, you won't find this version of bak kut teh in most restaurants. We have added a lot of different spices to harmonize the overall taste and make it a bit more mellow. We make it this way so as to be better for the body. Two of the guests, Deng Sulian and Zheng Zhaolun, both suffered injuries in the past, yet both have continued on with their volunteer work regardless. I have acute glaucoma. The cooking oil will hurt my eyes and make them very dry. I always say not to turn up the flames too high.
My motorcycle flipped over, which cracked my spine in 2 places. That continues to affect me. I can't stand too long without pain.
Despite their condition, each of the guests are more than willing to put aside their personal problems in order to bring the practice and benefits of vegetarianism to even more people.
In our continuing series on Taiwan's media volunteers, we travel to Tainan to meet media volunteer Chen Hesen. Like many of Tzu Chi's media volunteers, Chen has thrown himself into the work of reporting news for Tzu Chi, and that includes buying his own camera. Chen's enthusiasm and commitment to his work has not been diminished by the fact that he's currently undergoing chemotherapy and electrotherapy for colorectal cancer. He says his condition has only strengthened his determination to do all he can to spread Tzu Chi's message of love and gratitude.
Before leaving to the hospital for electrotherapy, Tainan's Chen Hesen gets some shots of a recent vegetarian promotion event.
I've done 1 round of chemo. This Monday, I will be doing electrotherapy again, which will last for 2 months.
Once at the hospital, Chen shows no fear, but faces the upcoming treatment with a settled mind. When lying in the hospital bed, people mention it's like the iron bed that is spoken about in the Earth Treasury Sutra. He says it is like a bed of grass.
I got it today, a consent card to donate my body to science. If I really have to go, then I will go out the best I can. That includes donating my body and organs, as well as declining to be kept alive by machines. I will sign all the consent cards.
Born in a family of politicians, Chen rarely opened himself up to the world. However, after attending a Tzu Chi training session in 2003 and working as a media volunteer, his attitude has changed completely. Whether it is volunteers helping residents clean up a fire or visits to a solitary senior, wherever and whenever there are volunteers at work in northern Tainan County, Chen Hesen is there.
Although there is some pressure to finish on time, there is also a lot of joy because I'm not alone in all of this.
Right after finishing his electrotherapy treatment, Chen Hesen changes into his volunteer uniform and, with his trusty camera in tow, finds the next Tzu Chi event that needs recording. He's proactive in finding things to do. My mother-in-law said, "Strange, how is it that the more he does Tzu Chi, the more lively he becomes?"
In martial arts novels, there's a character by the name of Zhou Bo-tong. Chen Hesen is so much like him. He is really pure in his intent and action.
With this purity of intent, Chen Hesen has put together a range of video equipment that is unique to him.
A portable speaker was found in one of the recycling stations. Someone had thrown it away, but the head could still be used. Now I use it as a mini microphone.
Regarding his present circumstances, Chen says since he can't fight against impermanence, he has made peace with this fate. He is also determined that as long as he has the strength, he will continue to use his time to help spread Tzu Chi's message to the world.
In my job, I see so many different kinds of people. I want to spread the goodness that I see far and wide.
Hualien Railway Station is the second busiest station in Taiwan. The daily passenger traffic usually increases during summer and winter breaks. However, the lack of infrastructure is inconvenient for physically challenged passengers. To help, 2 local entrepreneurs donated 2 mobility vehicles to enhance the accessibility of the handicapped to the public transport.
2 local entrepreneurs noticed the inaccessibility of Hualien Railway Station forcing the handicapped to spend extra time to change platforms. Therefore, they donated 2 golf carts to serve passengers in the station.
As local residents, it's our responsibility to help these passengers. We hope other corporations can also join us in reciprocating society.
The donation of the $10,000 worth of mobility vehicles will temporarily address the problem of infrastructure in the Hualien station.
It's the first time to see this kind of vehicle transport service in Taiwan's railway stations. We provide such services in our international airports.
The vehicles take the disabled passengers across the rails, saving them from climbing stairs and working the underpass. The stability of the vehicles has also been praised.
The vehicle is stable and comfortable. We are very thankful for their donation, which helps handicapped passengers a lot.
Hualien railway station staff once served 59 handicapped passengers a day. Now that there are mobility vehicles to help, their workload will be lightened and handicapped passengers will not have to worry when traveling.
Next, we meet Cho Ming-song, who was originally a betel nut tree farmer in Taiwan's Pingdong. However, knowing how detrimental betel nuts are to human body and the environment, the farmer wanted to plant something else instead. 8 years ago, Cho began planting cacao trees. Though he eventually managed to produce quality cacao seeds, at that time, Taiwan had no equipment to turn these seeds into cocoa solids or cocoa butter to produce chocolates. Luckily, with help from his family, Cho finally produced the first chocolate bar entirely made and processed in Taiwan. Let's take a look. With a sweet taste and deliciously scented smell, no one can say no to these tasty chocolates. In the past, Taiwan had relied on imports of cocoa mass to produce chocolates, but that's no longer the case.
The tree is growing beautifully. I trimmed off the not-so-good parts. You see, the color is dark.
These are the seeds of cacao trees. Some are red and some are yellow, but all the sizes are similar to that of a papaya. It took Cho Ming-song years of hard work to grow beautiful cacao trees.
We damaged the skin and it didn't recover, so look, this part no longer grows. So we paid more attention to this area to protect this part. You see, it doesn't get sunblock here, so the skin gets burned.
Cho Ming-song uses wooden sticks to support the trees to withstand the storms. Southern Taiwan is said to be well suited for cacao tree planting, and it only takes 3 years to make a harvest. Cho at first, like all other farmers in his area, was planting betel nut trees, but wanted to make a change knowing how detrimental betel nut trees are.
People were just waiting to see what will happen to me. I didn't know whether I was going to fail or succeed.
At the time, Taiwan did not have the technology to process cacao seeds. The seeds are first taken out before they are fermented, dried and baked. The next few steps are, however, not as simple because in Taiwan, there are no tools available to turn these cacao nibs into cocoa solids.
I went to every place I could to search and ask, and went to every machinery exhibition in the north, central and south of the island. As long as there was a show, I would go to see if there's anything I could use.
After devoting himself to cultivating cacao trees, Cho struggled to produce cocoa butter. Luckily, it was then that his children stepped in to help.
I thought chocolate should be similar to peanuts. You just stir-fry it to make it crispy and grind it before making the powder into hot chocolate. I was really naive.
To turn cocoa solids and cocoa butter into a chocolate bar is no easy task. But Cho Jun-tae was determined to overcome the challenge and never stopped researching.
Hundreds of kilos, I would just have to throw them away, even to the point that my dad felt it was a pity. He would say his heart was bleeding chocolate.
After 8 years of hard work, the Cho family's dream finally came true as the first made-in-Taiwan chocolate bar was produced. This success also triggered a new trend of replacing the planting of betel nut trees with cocoa trees among local farmers. In our last report, we learned about the years of hard work Cho Min-sung has devoted to making locally produced chocolates. Cho says his success would not have been possible without the love and support of his wife and children. In our next report, we look at how the family, united in their effort, has made a name of themselves in the trade.
要50进去吗？
好啊，来啊。
50。过动老人。
真的吗？你觉得自己是过动老人？
过动老人。
Despite being 60 years of age, cocoa tree farmer Cho Min-sung is always full of energy, and his eyes shine every time when he speaks of his work.
If you are going to a formal event and you don't have a tie, you can use this. It looks like a tie and it looks good too.
Cho even has a few ideas for the cocoa seeds gel, which normally gets thrown away.
I can put ice cream in here and you can eat ice cream like this. After a customer finishes their food, they can take this home. This can be given away for free or we can charge them.
Cho Min-sung's determination to pursue his dreams is an inspiration for his children.
From before till now, my father has always had this personality. He always has the courage to go forward.
Sitting together, Cho Jun-tae is more of an introvert, but still inherited his father's optimistic and positive attitude to life.
这样拔久的时候会变白吗？
会变形。
Over the years, Cho Min-sung came across many difficulties as he tried to produce quality cocoa, and it was the support of his wife and children that gave him the courage and strength to go on.
夫妻要是采了彩桐以后都会吵架。
They say that when a couple picks from the same tree, they will always argue. When I say we can't pick from that tree, she will say we can. You can't talk too much or you don't actually get anything done. She is slower than me. No, actually, I always listen to my wife.
会有一点意见不一样的时候吗？
不会啦，我们都听太太的。
Squabbling with each other as they work the farm, Cho's wife, Chen Su-jin, is not as talkative as her husband, but shows her support through action. She not only helps Cho by finding quality fertilizer for their cocoa trees, but has even learned to make a good cup of coffee.
My wife and children all really support me. They think that as long as I'm not gambling or fooling around, they will support me.
United in their efforts, the Cho family's love, trust and support for each other not only is the key to their success, but also sets an example for future generations. We go to Australia at the end of our program and join Tzu Chi volunteers in the Perth Tzu Chi Liaison Office as they're holding a blessing ceremony to celebrate the 7th lunar month. Volunteers prepare delicious vegetarian food in hopes of encouraging the participants to take on a meatless diet. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.